Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on the Taming of the Shrew, and according to some versions we're in Act 3, Scene 2. In other versions we've made it to Act 3, Scene 3, but Shakespeare didn't delineate scenes. He barely even delineated acts in this, so we're somewhere in Act 3. And it is Catherine's wedding day, which she was dreading, and rightfully so. Petruchio showed up very, very late, dressed like a homeless person on a horse that was about to fall over dead. Catherine had already gone inside, and he went off to find her with like, how dare she keep me waiting, sort of an attitude. So a bunch of people go in to watch the wedding, I guess, to attend the wedding. And meanwhile, Lucentio and Tranio like stayed outside for a second, and Tranio had to tell Lucentio, we have to find you somebody to be your father so that we can show that we can provide all the stuff for Bianca that we said that we could, so that you get to marry her, because I sort of won that, but I lied in order to get it. And Lucentio's like, okay, cool. But then Gremio comes outside. Also, remember, Tranio is pretending to be Lucentio. Lucentio is pretending to be a teacher named Cambio. Anyway, Gremio comes out of the church, and he's like, oh my goodness. And they're like, so how's the wedding? That's what you're in? And he's like, that Petruchio is a monster. And they're like, no, it's Catherine who's the monster. And he's like, no, it's Petruchio. He was horrible in there. He hit the priest. He knocked the Bible out of the priest's hand, and then he hit the priest so that the priest fell over. And they're like, what? Like, what? How did he react? And Gremio says, trembled and shook. For why? He stamped and swore as if the vicar meant to cozen him. But after many ceremonies done, he calls for wine. A health, quoth he, as if he had been aboard carousing to his mates after a storm, quaffed off the muscadel, and threw the sops all in the sexton's face, having no other reason but that his beard grew thin and hungerly, and seemed to ask him sops as he was drinking. This done, he took the bride about the neck and kissed her lips with such a clamorous smack that at the parting all the church did echo. And I, seeing this, came thence for very shame. And after me, I know the rout is coming. Such a mad marriage never was before. Hark, hark, I hear the minstrels play. So Petruchio continued on his non-gentlemanly path of getting married. First he hits the priest, and then the priest is like on the ground and shaking, and then Petruchio like swears, and he calls for wine, and he starts drinking, and then he wants like snacks. That's what sops are, like little bits of cake or bread or whatever that's been soaked in wine. He asks for that, and he starts throwing some of this stuff around and all this sort of thing. And Gremio came outside because he's like, that was too much. This is the worst wedding that I have ever been to, that I have ever seen. So then other people start to come out from the church, and by the time Petruchio and Catherine come out from the church, Petruchio's like, okay, well, I gotta go. So Catherine, let's leave. And everybody's like, no, like there's the whole reception to do. Like we have a dinner planned and a party, like stick around for a little while. And he's like, no, I got things to do. So Catherine, let's go. And finally she's like, no, I'm not leaving until I'm ready to leave. You're welcome to go, but I'm going to stay and have dinner with my family because I just got married today, and that's what you do after you get married, is you have dinner with your family. Petruchio has some thoughts on that, which we will get to hear tomorrow. I'll see you then for that. Mwah.